Hey, make sure you check out guitarmerch.com. We've got loads of cool guitar, music, and everyone loves guitar t-shirts, hoodies, and mugs, and everything comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk to you. Head on over to guitarmerch.com. Hey, everybody. This is Craig Garber. Welcome to Everyone Loves Guitar. We got a great guest for us today with Phil Vilenski from the band Wayland. If you don't know the band, they're awesome. Anything that's good and pure about rock and roll as it was defined when it, over the years, it is exemplified by Wayland. So let's get into this. Let me give you Phil's background, and he's a lot of fun. He's a guitarist, founder, and along with singer Mitch Arnold, the main songwriter of the band Wayland. Wayland is a 6-time charting rock band from Michigan. They released 2 full-length albums, an EP, and a new EP is about to drop probably after the first of the year sometime, called On the Way. They have the single out from that EP is called How Long, and the whole EP was produced by Keith Nelson. Yes, the Keith Nelson, founding member, lead songwriter, and guitarist from Buckcherry. Keith was on here a while back, so check out his interview. It was a very good one. I really enjoyed listening to Wayland. The band rocks. As I said, great classic rock style band, loud, bluesy, and lots of good guitar. Their music is fun, and I don't say this, I've said about a handful of people. These guys are on their way to being huge. So if you don't know them, please pay attention. Phil, thanks so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's an honor to be here. Like I said, I'm a big fan and follower of your podcast.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. All right. All the band members from Wayland met in LA, but you're originally from Michigan. So I was curious, what prompted you to move out to LA, and what were you doing musically before moving out there?
Yeah, that's an awesome question. I was like, I've been in bands since junior high. So when I started doing it, like, first band was the Albino Chickens, me and my buddies.
The Albino Chickens. That's was that a punk band?
No, that's just like, it's a blues band, actually.
That's cool. The Albino Chickens.
We played like Mustang Sally and Taj Mahal stuff and BB King, because that's what, I guess my dad and mainly the bass player's dad. That's kind of was where we were getting our music. And then we would do Green Day and Nirvana and the stuff that was on the radio at the time.
Right.
A diverse set list, that's for sure. Very confusing to the listener. But yeah, I was in bands, and there's a lot of influence from Chicago because, being in Grand Rapids, Michigan, there's just a lot of blues music going on. So as I got older, like in high school, I started to it felt to me like nobody in high school wanted to be as serious about being in a band as I was.
Right.
So I remember I put posters up at the music shops in Grand Rapids, looking for people that wanted to get serious about it. And I started playing with guys that were like, it's funny that I remember specifically this guitar player was 25 and I was probably 16 or 17, and he seemed so old.
It is old when you're 16 or 17.
It is.
Yeah, man, it is very old.
So I started playing in bars, that I wasn't allowed to be in. They put the big X's on my hand and stuff, like my junior and senior year, with guys that were old. That was a big deal because those guys, like, my dad plays bluegrass music, and obviously,
yeah, tell me about that.
Yeah, I grew up on bluegrass, which, when you're a little kid, bluegrass is like not cool at all. And then something happens. I think it was like around high school, something clicked in me. I realized it's like the coolest music ever. And, but that music taught me so much. Grew up going to bluegrass jams with him and seeing him play. And my she plays piano, and she really introduced me to like Buddy Holly, Elvis, a lot of early 50s rock and roll, the Beach Boys, Motown, my mom loved. So between my mom and dad, there was a lot of music in my life that kids at school hadn't really been exposed to.
Right.
Now, I didn't really love what was going on when I was growing up as much. So anyway, I got in with those guys, the older dudes, and we started really playing blues. It was quite an education. And I think my mom and dad were kind of worried about me because I was not interested in school my junior, senior year. I really wanted to play music. I think I had like 4 choir classes my senior year.
That's not even,
because they let you like drop, they let you drop math and stuff if you don't need those credits to graduate.
Okay. Yeah.
So I had like theater and choir all day long, and I would go, and I wouldn't go to the classes. I would just go in the practice rooms and write songs. I was just obsessed. And this touring group came through my town. It was called the Young Americans.
Yeah.
And they basically, it's like 30 kids. They're like probably 20 years old. They come in and they teach your whole all the kids, like 300 kids, they teach them like a bunch of singing and dancing in 3 days. Then you put on a show for your town at the end of the day. And I was like totally wowed by that. Like this was something that in Wayland, Michigan, I had never seen. And I auditioned and I made the group. So that took me to California. And I left like the week after I graduated and went out there. And
wow.
Yeah, and the group didn't start rehearsing until like that fall. So I moved in with Mitch. I met him, like friend of a friend. Told me about this guy Mitch that had a guitar.
And he was from
He's
Michigan?
from Indiana.
He's from Indiana. Okay.
He's from Bloomington, Indiana, a little town called Ellettsville, outside of Bloomington, Indiana, where like where John Mellencamp.
Yeah, I had all those. Had a bunch of those guys on. Yeah.
Which we love John Mellencamp. Yeah. So Mitch and I met and we're like, he knew 2 chords, G and C, and he'd already written a song. And I was like, and he's like, such a good singer, and I was like,
he is a good singer.
Dude, can you teach me how to sing like that? And he's like, oh, it's so easy. I'll totally teach you how to sing like that. Because I have like a baritone voice, and I love like high singers like Chris Robinson and Robert Plant, and that he can do that. So I was like, I'm going to hang out with this guy so he teaches me how to sing like that. He still hasn't, but we're still hanging out.
But you probably haven't taught him to play guitar like that, like the way you do.
I gave him a crash course really fast, and we became best friends instantly. And so that summer that we were waiting for the touring group to happen, we started taking the bus. We lived in Orange County, and we started taking the bus to like Huntington Beach and Newport Beach, and we play on the streets all day.
Okay, so you would busk on the streets.
Yeah. Like do like Brown Eyed Girl and Hard to Handle and all the songs I kind of grew up playing. Otis Redding songs, a lot of that. Like I remember, or Wilson Pickett, like Midnight Hour, I can remember doing. And we only knew like 4 or 5 songs. We just go to different street corners to do them.
Yeah.
We had a whole act like planned out. Like we knew we see like a family coming, or we knew that we had one thing you learn is you got to have money already in the case, or nobody's going to add to it. So we
nobody wants to be the first one. There's no. You need social proof.
Exactly. Yeah. Someone else liked us. See.
Right. Totally.
So we get it all ready, throw our money in, open the case, start playing, get to the chorus right when they hit. And we get pretty big crowds of people around us. We got really good. And whenever Mitch would get stressed out about the chords, he would flip the guitar over and play it like a drum.
Okay.
Sing harmony. He's a natural percussionist. And we get such big crowds around us that finally a bar asked us if we wanted to come in and play on a Friday night.
Just as you two.
Yeah. And this was like on a Wednesday. And we were like, oh my God, we have a gig. Like we couldn't fucking believe it.
That's so cool.
But the thing is, Mitch didn't know any songs. So he had to learn like 30 songs in 2 days, which was
for your gig. That's a lot of
which
work.
was like impossible. But most of them were blues, like, so we were doing like High Heeled Sneakers and Woke Up This Morning and a bunch of old classics. And I remember him just stressing, but we got through it. And that was kind of the beginning of our band. Like so we started touring in that group, teaching music. And that was an amazing experience.
He was in that group as well.
That's how we met. Yeah, he was in that group too.
Is that the group now that in the video? How long? Mm-hmm. I read something. There was a bunch of kind of like something like that. Like
the group has changed their name to Heart Global now, and they do these workshops teaching kids music all over the world. And during the pandemic, now they do it via Skype or whatever, Zoom or something. But they still, I think tours are opening up and they're traveling all over again. But we did that for like 2 years, but we were constantly on different tours. And we went to the head of the group, his name's Bill, and we told him what we were doing, that we were writing songs, that we wanted to play together, and we were going to leave the group to go do that. And they were like, well, they were so supportive. And they're like, well, we'll let you guys they didn't ever do this. Like, they were like, we'll let you guys go on this tour and we'll let you room together and really stick together. And if you want to take a day off here or there to write songs, we support that. And they really did. So we wrote our first batch of songs on tour in the UK. We would go find a pub early in the morning and get a couple pints and sit back in the corner and write about our experiences. And that really was kind of like the springboard for us, because since we had a batch of songs and we got off tour back in Orange County and we were living in government housing. We had nothing. Our landlord was so cool. I think our rent was like $325 a month.
Wow.
which we barely had.
God, you can't get a bedroom, a closet for
No, you
$325.
You can't.
Yeah.
And like our neighbors would bring us bags of groceries from their church every Sunday, like leftover.
Wow.
We would literally live on that. But it was a fucking blast. Like we were forming a band.
Yeah.
It was like nothing could be better. And we were studying music. We were listening to the Stones and the Beatles all day. And because he hadn't really been exposed to that kind of stuff. So we
What did he grow up listening to? Like church music maybe or something?
No, it was just a different thing. Like his dad loved Journey and a little bit more like what was on the radio.
Okay.
Like stuff that I hadn't really listened to, like pop music.
Yep.
I guess.
Yep.
So I was kind of giving him a crash course in blues and rock and roll while we were writing our first batch of songs. And bluegrass as well. And like just literally playing from the second we woke up till we went to sleep, which we really haven't stopped doing since. But yeah, we didn't really know where to go from there because we didn't have any contacts in the music business.
Right.
And we're in Orange County. And so I think we eventually, we got a band together and we moved to Hollywood, like up there, and started playing the Whiskey A Go-Go and started winning battles of the bands. And, first, for the first couple of years, people just told us we sucked and we did. Everybody told us no.
You say everybody, like, you mean
like any like producer or record person that we would meet, it was like always a no. And they were always like people that believed in us here or there. Like we'd have a manager, something, it's like just wacky Hollywood shit. Like, oh, her dad was like, this one girl, her dad was the sax player in the Rolling Stones, Bobby Keys.
Yeah.
So it was just always some wacky Hollywood thing. And there's always a corporate group of people that believed in us, but we didn't really feel like we could get anywhere. We did a record with Andy Johns.
Oh, wow.
You know who that is?
John's brother,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. So like, he had done Zeppelin 2, 3, 4, Physical Graffiti. He had done Cream and Clapton and worked with Lenny Kravitz. And that was like the first big.
Which is the genre that which is your genre. Exactly.
Totally.
Yeah.
But, even he would like get hammered and like scream at us and tell us we sucked, It's like,
really?
Yeah, it was just kind of part of it, but it never fazed us. Like Mitch and I have had this thing where like, it's like, oh, then he's just not the guy. Next. Oh, you don't get it? Oh, you're not.
Right.
They don't see what we see. We just really, we believed in ourselves. And then, so we like started winning these battles of the bands, and we met this guy who really changed our life. His name is Michael Gurley. And he was a guitar player in a band Dada. You heard of them?
I don't think I have, to be honest with you. No.
Yeah, they had like one hit called Going to Disneyland, and I hadn't heard of him when I met him. But Michael is like a songwriter of all songwriters. And he came backstage at the Whiskey. We were playing the Whiskey A Go-Go, and we were getting pretty good crowds. Like we had a good friend network, and we were kind of living like we were on tour. Like we were Motley Crue on tour, except we didn't go to the next town the next day. We just stayed there. We had this apartment. It's like a 3-story apartment. There's just like the doors had fallen off, and like black mold everywhere. Everyone had staph infections. It was just like disgusting. Our parents would come out and just like, cry when they saw the place, just buy us groceries and cleaning supplies.
Let me ask you a question about that. Because what did your parents do for a living? What were they like? What was their career path?
My parents owned a jewelry store together, actually, and,
in Michigan,
in Wayland, Michigan. Yeah, they opened it when I was in kindergarten.
Okay,
and they worked together their whole career, and that my parents have like been such a big part of this. Like they supported me from day one.
Okay, that was
not just because my dad's a musician, but they really supported me to do what I wanted to do. And there was a lot of pressure from like their families, our family, I guess, that, you should grow up and go to college. But
they were entrepreneurs though. So they didn't take the standard. They put themselves out on a limb on a daily basis.
My dad's
so
an artist, he's not only a musician, but he's an artist, and, he had to draw all the jewelry and then make it. And
okay.
So he saw that side of it. And
so that's the best of both worlds you had in him, as far as he's a creative and he's an entrepreneur. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And so they've been a big help even on the business, like with a lot of decisions and, strategy stuff and just overall, like, principles, I guess, on how to keep good people in your life and what to put up with and what not to put up with. And, so, yeah, they're still a huge part of my life. And, and now that we're in Nashville, I can see them, so much more often because they're in North Carolina.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's not that far at all, man. That's fantastic.
Now it's like 5 hours. So we've been here 2 months and I've seen them twice, which is like twice as much as I would normally see them in a year.
Yeah, that's nice, man. Do you miss the freezing cold tundra up?
No, I don't miss that at all. That's what I don't like about it. We were just played Michigan last weekend. It was bone chilling.
Yeah, I know, man.
Look at that.
I couldn't handle that.
Like we were waiting for all that. Like we were in Hollywood doing all that stuff. We met Michael Gurley and he really taught us to write songs. That was like he said this thing to us. He said, okay, who's your favorite bands? I think at the time we said like Green Day and Aerosmith. He said, okay, cool. Which one of your songs are as good as an Aerosmith song?
Wow.
That's a very sobering moment when you think your songs are good. Like, wow.
Let's have a bar. Let's raise the bar. Let's raise the bar.
It just really shows you like, oh, wow, we have nothing. So he really taught us how to write and rewrite. And when we got a batch of songs that were decent, he said, okay, now in a year from now, these are going to be your worst songs.
That's so cool.
Yeah, he pushed us and he introduced us to Jude Cole. Do you know Jude at all?
No, I've heard that name though.
Jude, he manages the band Lifehouse.
Okay.
And he's written a bunch of great songs for a bunch of great people. And he's had his own solo career and stuff. But Jude, he had a record label called Ironworks with Kiefer Sutherland, the actor.
Yep.
And so they kind of grabbed a hold of the band and Jude wanted to manage us and was such a guiding force behind it. Like just, he was the one that sat us down and said, you guys, we made a great record with Michael Gurley and this guy, Florian Amon. And he said, you got this great 10 songs, but like, you're just not a Hollywood band. Like you guys are a Midwest Heartland band. Like you should go back to Michigan with this, which was like the scariest thing ever. It felt like we weren't good enough for LA or something,
Yeah, sure. I can see that.
Like,
yeah. And it also,
our drummer at the time almost had a heart attack.
Also, I think when someone tells you just in general what you should be doing, you have to be really trusting of that. I mean, you shouldn't tell somebody what they should be doing. And, it's kind of like, you almost want to ask permission.
Well, I'll say we were asking for advice.
Okay.
Yeah. But it was the best advice ever because we went back and like, we were then playing to people that got us, that really got us. Like we went back and got a farmhouse, a pre-Civil War farmhouse outside of Wayland, Michigan. And we're this band called Wayland. And people were like, what the fuck? Like I remember telling somebody that we were called Wayland in the local bar and they're like, there's not a band called Wayland, and all of a sudden, but it was awesome because like we had the support of like my hometown wrapped up around us like nobody could have ever predicted.
Yeah.
And it was so beautiful. And it like that led to us getting on the radio, which led to us recording more songs, which led to us touring, all because of my hometown, Wayland.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
Is that the biggest? I'm sure you have demographics of your fan base. Is it biggest in that radius?
Wisconsin is a strong competitor. Madison, Wisconsin has really kind of tried to grab a hold of the band and claim us for their own.
That's good.
So it's a dueling match, I think, right now.
Good.
But we really, and we've been really lucky to build a very strong fan base. But that didn't come from just us and our music. That really happened because Jude introduced us to Jesse Dupree
from Jackal. Right. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, and Jesse like really he took me under his wing personally, and taught me a lot of really strong lessons. First and foremost being that nobody was going to care about my band more than I was.
Right.
You can't rely on anybody to do that. You can't ask for anybody to do that. And you can't sit around waiting for Capitol Records to come sign you. You need to get out there and do it. And he was the one that really inspired us to get out there and play. And we went on our first 2-week tour in like 2012 that I booked. And we didn't come home for 7 years. We just kept going and going. Literally. We went through so many vehicles and we never stopped. And I did all the booking myself.
For that whole time?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
How the hell did you even do that? Like,
You know what?
did you have contacts, or you just like?
I mean, some of it, like Jesse introduced us to a lot of radio contacts. So I would go through the radio stations in those towns, but in other towns, you know, and in bike rallies too is his big thing.
Right.
Which, you know, those motorcycle rallies are amazing. Those are such just hardcore people that,
like, you know, Sturgis. Did you do something like that?
Oh,
you
yeah.
did.
Sturgis every year. We'd go out to Sturgis. He'd have us at the Full Throttle Saloon. We'd be out there for 5 days straight and play every night.
What great exposure that was.
Oh my God. Yeah. There's people from all over the world there.
Yeah.
You know? And it taught us to play harder. Like, you know, you're not just going to get up there. Like, you got to fight for their attention, because they don't give a shit. They don't want, they want to see Skinner that night. They don't want to meet their next favorite band, you know, they never heard of. So yeah, he taught us that. You know, he taught me a lot about just relationships and keeping everything in integrity at all times, holding people's feet to the fire, and challenging people to do the right thing in a tough situation. So
can you give me an example of that without like being?
Well, yeah, like, you know, when you're a young band, and someone promises you $1,000, which is more money than you've ever made, to go out to Montana to play, let's say. And so you use all your gas money to get out there, probably cost you $800, you know, to make 1,000. And then that promoter doesn't have the turnout that they think we're going to, and they try to stiff you on the money. You have to have some really honest conversations with people. It's not going to really help to get mad and throw a fit, but just to say, hey, you know, or, you know, just to hold people to their integrity, I think is a good way to put it.
How is that?
What's that?
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, I'll just say the other thing that he really did for us more than anything is he said it from the very beginning, is you have to build a fan base that nobody can take away from you. And he showed me bands and examples that like maybe would show up somewhere and didn't really know how they got there, or who booked them, or why they were that way in the lineup, or whatever, you know. It's just like to have control of our career and to have that relationship with our fan base, because those are the people that, I mean, dude, like if that's who gets your music, like that's all we've ever wanted in our lives. So like, of course those people are going to be my friends, you know.
A couple of questions about that. That was really interesting, and thank you for sharing that. The first one, what do you do? How do you hold somebody to their word when you say, hey man, not enough people showed up, this is your problem, not my problem? I mean, basically is what you're trying to do. I mean, is there any recourse there, or do they? Well,
it's always their choice. You can't make anybody do anything.
Right. Yeah.
You know, but I think the key is to just truly challenge them to do the right thing and say, no, you knew the responsibilities you were taking by booking a show or whatever. I mean, this could be anything, dude. This could be even band members. I mean, you know, like it's just been really clear in the world that we live in. We have so many people come in and out of our lives all the time. We've had to get used to that, which was not an easy thing to get used to. It's been, for Mitch and I, it has been very painful. We've lost people in our lives that we thought were going to be there forever, no matter what. You have to understand it. You can't control other people. Like I was just saying, even that promoter, that whether he's going to pay you or not is up to him. I can lay the cards on the table and say, okay, dude, like there's a cause and effect to this. Like if you choose to not do the right thing, obviously we're not going to play with you again. But you know, like word spreads. It's a small community. And
yeah, totally.
Not that I'm saying I'm going to bad talk anybody. It's just like,
no, but you're certainly not going to give the guy a second look ever.
Exactly.
Nor should you.
It's a tight community, you know. Community is the word, I think. And so just it reminds you it's important to do. And I do think that, like, the fact that we are focused on doing the right thing and doing it in integrity, you tend to gravitate or magnetize the right people to you, you know.
Yeah, the people that are also operate out of that mindset are attracted to that, and they want to be part of that gang.
Yeah, look, you called, you know.
You're right. And you called. So there you go. Building the fan base. What did you guys do?
Dude, well, when our first tour, I mean, we were playing to nobody. Right. I mean, when I say nobody, I mean like the bartender would go outside when we played. You know, it's like nobody. It seemed like in our band. Just you know, that I'm so proud of those guys. You know, a couple of them aren't with us anymore. They're still alive, but you know, got fiancés, you know. It's just like a death, isn't it? I mean, breaking up, you know, losing
it's hard to do.
certain band members, it was much more painful than any divorce.
Yeah.
But man, it didn't phase us. Like all those nights in Fargo when it was 30 below, playing to nobody.
It's always it's always in those cold places where I hear this story. I had Charlie from Blackberry Smoke. He was telling me the same thing. It was like in Fargo or someplace like that.
Yeah. It didn't phase us. You know, we just had our eye on the prize, and we really loved playing music. We really loved being with each other, and we always really believed in ourselves. So, you know, but those two people, like that was our kind of strategies. We wanted to blow that bartender away and the door guy,
right?
So that they brought their 4 friends next time we went to Fargo. And
right.
Those 4 people brought 2 people, and then those 24 people brought 20 people. And that's really like, you know, we started our Facebook page with 0 likes, and now it's at 60,000. Well, we've met
for you guys
every one of those people. Like, no joke. Like, there's been no, you know, you see people buying stuff, buying fans or buying numbers and on social media. We've never done that. We've always been very careful to keep it and to keep a really open relationship, which has been really hard to do at times. We've had to, and the reason I say that, you want to be open and you want to like share everything with the fan base, especially what's going on with the band.
Mm-hmm.
But people, that was some painful stuff too. Like, not to jump around, but like, you know, like when we were like certain members were coming or going, the fans don't always understand that. And I think they sometimes take some frustration out on the members that are still here, which was like really hard for Mitch and I. Cause like to us, we're the ones that are still here.
Yeah.
We didn't leave to go make more money at another job or quit this band to go join another band.
Yeah.
We're here playing the songs that you told us changed your life.
Yeah.
Or your son listened to in Afghanistan or whatever the story was.
Right.
That was so touching. We're still here doing that. Like for you, like there's been not many, I guess there's probably been 2 times that like got really fucking dark. And Mitch and I were on the back of a tour bus and looked at each other and said, are we going to keep doing this? Or do you want to keep doing this? Or why are we doing this?
Right.
And it always came down to like those stories, like people write us all the time, like those stories from the people that like, holy shit, like we have to do this. Like we do this for them. Like we are of service.
Right.
Because which is, it's the most inspiring thing. I that's not why I started out doing this. I'll tell you that. You know, I didn't know what it was going to be like. You know, I wanted, you know, you started out because I wanted to play music and I wanted to write songs with my friends and I like the Beatles, you know, and it becomes so much more to so many people that like now there's a responsibility.
Do you guys
fucking awesome?
You, like after shows, do you hang out? How do you handle that? Because that's a job. It's a lot of work, a lot of energy.
Yeah, but we love it. That's kind of the energy that feeds us though too. Like especially it's been different since after the pandemic. Like not that we ever took it for granted before, but we certainly don't now. It's like when we first got out after it was like a reunion. It's a celebration. Everyone's so excited to see each other again. And so we finish on stage, we go back and take about 5 minutes to dry off and change our shirt. And then we go out and we stay till everybody gets a picture, you know, sign anything you want. Yeah, we always do that.
But that's serving you obviously, because you didn't get 60,000 fans by magic. You earned 60,000 fans, and that's part of it. I mean, like look at Warren Haynes. He's great for doing that. He still does that after the show, and he's been doing this.
He's someone that I look up to because he's, you know, he's a real person. Like I lived in Asheville, North Carolina for a little while, and he goes home he's from Asheville.
Yeah.
He goes there every Christmas and puts on this massive charity show where he brings in like Dave Grohl and all the biggest rock stars in the world and gives all the money to Children's Hospital. It's like that is what this is for.
Right.
You know, being a rock and roll player, especially someone with a fan base, is a superpower. Yeah. And I've known people that use that superpower for good and for bad. Yeah. That's been really clear to me over the last few years.
It's when I was early starting the show, just warming up, I heard a podcast with this guy named Reed Hastings, who I think founded PayPal. and he was interviewing the guys from Airbnb, and I never forget something they said. They said, we built our community, we built it one person at a time, and that always stuck in my head. And I always still try, people will send nice comments and I try to respond. I try to, I don't do it every day, but like once or twice a month, I'll go on YouTube and just, blow through as many of them as I can, whatever the allotted time is, because I always kept that in mind. Like, yeah, okay. And it sounds like you guys are doing the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, with that, there are boundaries. You have to have boundaries in your life. That's another lesson I think this year I've learned more than anything. If someone writes, like we have a lot of people write, if they just write, hey, I'm not gonna really jump on that, but like,
what do you do with that?
Yeah, but like with a sincere question or a thought, or if they tell us share a story or an experience, like, we're there to respond for sure.
Yeah, even if it's nothing like, hey, thanks so much for sharing this. I'm so happy to hear that. Best of luck.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah,
I'd love to hear that.
Yeah, that's great. But
we do get
really
the
cool.
Hey.
That's really weird.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up? That's
yeah.
That's a delete. That's why they have delete. I hate to say this, but it's like, I mean, how much you can't put zero effort into something and expect anything more than zero effort.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
I mean, come on, man. Let's, All right. So speaking of which, you guys are well known for touring upwards of 250 shows a year. As you said, you started, you left in 2012 and you didn't come back for 7 years. So when I read that, my immediate thought is, you do something like this, that is a deliberate commitment that you made to do something like that. Even if it didn't start like that, at some point in time, many times over and over, probably you had to recommit to doing that. As you said, you're sitting in the car, do we do this? And I had some questions about this, because obviously, and I had nothing but respect for that. You were super determined to do as much as you can to make things happen. And it really fits in with your story. Like, oh, we just started busking.
Yeah.
And, we learned, Mitch had to learn 30 songs. So this recurring theme of like work ethic and determination is, recurring through your career and your life. Once you started this, did anybody have second thoughts about it?
Well, there wasn't much time to think about it. It was just like, go, go, go. And there was always like one thing happening. Like, like we were making a record, or, we had singles that were charting in the 30s, which was very exciting. And we had opening gigs for some of our heroes and bands we looked up to, so there's like all this great shit always happening. And then, it's been 2 years. Then, we just didn't, there was not, and then we're getting a bus. So that's exciting. And, we're getting a crew, like things like happened that were little marks that along the way that charged everybody up, even through the peaks and valleys,
Sure.
So we didn't plan on it. We weren't like, hey, we're going to just keep touring. We were, I mean, for a while we were like, I think our slogan that we were putting on shirts was always on tour. Cause we were always on tour.
That's a great slogan.
Yeah.
Can you trademark that?
Yeah, I don't know.
No, I'm not kidding. That's a really good slogan.
Well, we're not always on tour anymore. That was just a chapter.
Doesn't matter. It's just a good slogan.
And like I said, Jesse was I think in his mind, he was helping us like develop our band, like go out there and play every night. Cause that was like, we were developing our live show and our band. And that's the only way you could, you could sit in a rehearsal room. We did that. We sat in a rehearsal room in LA and played the Viper Room once a month for years. And we never could get anywhere. You had that one chance for your 20-minute set and you fucked it up. You can't do it again for another month.
Right.
Like you have to do it every night at a different stage with weird stuff happening, with your pants ripping, with your guitar falling down. You didn't eat for 3 days, whatever the situation may be. So that way the music is the only thing that becomes the consistency in your life. Everything else doesn't matter,
Got ya. What were the top 2 or 3 positive things to come out of all that work?
Well, I mean, obviously our fan base is number one. It really, like, Jesse did what he set out to do with us, which was help us create a fan base that nobody could take away from us. We are so grateful for that. And I think it turned me into a guitar player. I hadn't been a guitar. I hadn't played that many shows. Didn't have that kind of, you look at a guy like, I remember looking at Warren Haynes being like, how many gigs has that guy played?
Yeah.
I'm never going to play as many gigs as he's played, So we got to do that. And like, I think that, you definitely walk, you know, you like have that thing about you that like, yeah, I've done this. And like, it's like all that, you know, not like I still get nervous for every single show. It's not like a nervous thing goes away, but you kind of know what to expect and you know how to wrangle that energy in a little bit, I think.
Well, you also have
at
the
least how to
talent
direct
and
that energy.
the skill set is not as that's it, like a more of a for granted thing, I would imagine now too. You know, your actual chops.
Yeah. I mean, it's sometimes during that time, I think I was always concerned or bummed out because playing music did seem like the thing I did the least, unfortunately, because I was booking shows. Like I was on the phone every day, all day. It was a full-time job.
So you were the booking agent for I don't know how you did that.
Yeah. I mean, Jesse was pretty much teaching me to be the manager of the band because you know, he had his own shit going on. So I would check in with him on advice or consulting or any big decisions. But you know,
and he was producing you guys or like managing you guys or just like being a buddy?
He was like a consultant, I guess you'd call it. You know, we called him our manager, but he would never really take that title. And you know, what's so amazing is he talked to me on the phone every day for probably 6-7 years straight and opened up his Rolodex of everybody from booking agents or like club promoters, festival promoters, radio people. He never took a dime. Like if anything, we costed him. I mean, there's a couple times we were stranded in Kentucky on a Sunday with a broken axle and he'd send me $1,000 to get it fixed. You know, like he was a big brother.
What an awesome guy.
Oh,
that's almost, forget about in the music business, it's unheard of, but like just in general in life, it's hard to find people like that.
Yeah.
That's great. That's really nice. Okay. So turn you into a guitar player and the fan base. On the flip side, what were the more difficult aspects of doing this that you couldn't have anticipated?
Well, you know, everybody's like super excited and supportive of you, your friends, you're going out to do it. But then when you start like not being able to go home for weddings or funerals or births, you know, or whatever, like then all of a sudden people don't, you know, I lost, you know, a lot of friends, like, you know, just because I couldn't be there for stuff. Like no one really understood. And it's always a bummer. It's always like the thing you can't go to is always the night that you are playing nobody in Fargo to miss. It just seems like that, you know, but like you're gone. So like, you know, I was married during it. Well, good luck with that. You know, I was home for 2 weeks a year, you know, that wasn't going to work. I don't know.
Man, you know what? I don't know how guys do that because marriage is tough when you're home. When I say tough, you have to work. It's like anything else. You have to work at it. And if you're not there, it's gotta be very difficult. Really empathize with anybody.
Yeah. So, and like, you know, everybody in our life, like has to have that moment that they realize that they're not in the band, you know, and like, as much as you don't sometimes want to like say that to somebody's face, but like the band does come first.
Yeah.
You know, so like, you know, it's hard for significant others to really grasp that. It's hard for even friends that aren't in the band that get close to the band. You know, something comes up where the band, it just takes precedence, and no one will ever. I don't think anyone that's not in a band could ever really understand that.
And somebody who owns their own business understands that probably.
Yes. Like my parents were that way. They never took a vacation. You know, and I saw them the way they were with their business. And it's very, very parallel.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah.
Wow, that's unfortunate to hear that. Sorry, man.
Dude, no, it's part of the journey.
No, but it seems honestly, there's a part of me that says I get it. There's another part of me that says that's fucking ridiculous. It's extremely selfish to look at it like it's not like you're like, hey, no, I can't come to your wedding because my buddies are taking me out to the topless bar around the corner tonight. I mean, you know, I can't come to your wedding because I'm in across the country doing a gig and we're doing one tomorrow night. Is like a very, you know, so I look at something like that. I'm like, that's just maybe immaturity or something like that, or selfishness to tell you the truth.
I mean, that time in our life though, it definitely, you know, there was not much of a balance because that's all we did 300 days a year. So, you know, I could look back at it and say, oh, well, maybe we could have grouped those tours together and everybody could have had more time off. And then maybe things would have been different. I don't know. Like, but we didn't choose that way. We just did it. And we were like, this is it. We're like, you know, we saw bands taking time off and we were like, you know,
right. And let's face it, it's a lot.
Like,
no, I
wanted to go do it. Like we were in no position to want to go on a vacation. Like we were out there to get it. Like we loved it. And we still do. We still love it. Like when there's a chance to play, you know, it's hard to say no.
Sure.
We're
I
ready to put in
totally
the
get
van and
that.
go.
Well, you also
Very
have
lucky.
yeah, you're lucky, but you have a goal in mind and you were committed to working it. And that's what that looks like.
If there's people somewhere that might want to hear our music, let's go play it for them. You know?
Yeah. Right.
We'll find out if they want to hear it or not when we get there.
Yeah. And that's why, and I hate to keep coming back to this because it's become a weird standard. That's why you have that fan base of 60,000 or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You earned each one of those people by doing that, not by staying home. That's the truth.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I admire that. And I say congratulations.
But, you know, that, like I said, we won't be able to tour like that forever. Like we kind of came off the road right before the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been doing like, before we moved to Nashville, even we were doing like kind of 2-week tours, then coming home for, you know, 2 weeks, then going out for 2 weeks. And even that felt like more of a balance. But in this now since we've been here, since we're so centralized, we can just go out on the weekends and come home and focus on the creative. That was another thing. Our fans were always like, well, like we weren't putting records out fast enough. It's like, well, like we couldn't afford to stop touring though. We were like,
right.
it was kind of, you know, that was one thing that we didn't really have someone managing our finances. So like we were spending as much as we were bringing in. So like we couldn't afford to stop and make a record.
Sure.
All the time, you know. So
I get that.
That was a little, again, it's just an imbalance. I think balance is like the biggest lesson from that.
But it's hard to do that when you're. Listen, I always and use an analogy of a business is like a plane getting off the ground. And in the beginning, the amount of energy it takes to get lifted is incredible, and it takes a while. Mm-hmm. It really does. And you know, you can go back and say, "Well, we could have done this. You could have." That's like, you know, saying, "Oh, why didn't I invest in Microsoft when I was 13?" You know, I mean, it's, you know, you do the best you can but you were getting that plane off the ground, and you got it off the ground now, you know, and so now you can do the 2-week thing or the fly dates on the weekend, you know, and I'm happy for you guys because it's a ton of work what you did, man. It really is. How did you handle lockdown, like emotionally? Because being on the road like that had to be a huge. How did you learn to relax? Because you had no choice.
Learning to relax has been a very big challenge for me. Because even when we were on the road doing that, just the little 2 weeks a year that we were off, I would have anxiety. It was a mess. I felt like I was missing out on being out on the road. Weird, man. So, we had kind of an interesting lockdown or like pandemic. We had gone the year before. We did a couple of those cruises. We did a Bon Jovi cruise and a Kiss cruise, which were just awesome. You know, it was like 4 days on a boat with.
You're a perfect band to do that. Actually, your music is it's an easy like.
Oh, good.
No, it really is. It's very. It would be anybody who listens to rock music. I would have a very hard time just not liking your music. It's very easy to like.
That's a big compliment. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just being honest. It's really easy to like. It's very appealing. You know, you go through a whole album. If there's not 3 or 4 or 5 songs in there, you're going to enjoy it. It's impossible. So anyway, cool. Sorry.
No, we made a lot of friends on the cruise. Yeah, and so one of them was this dentist in Florida. I remember he told us he'd been the dentist for like the Miami Heat, and he worked on Michael Jackson and Steven Tyler and Rob Thomas and kind of a celebrity dentist. And he called us up I think we went to his house one other time. Like he flew us like last minute on Thanksgiving one year to, cause he's like so I got to back up, but like we came off the road and didn't have anywhere to go when we decided to stop touring like in 2019. And the only place you can park a tour bus in Los Angeles, we were going out to LA to work with Keith Nelson.
Okay.
And the only place to park a tour bus is in this RV park they have in the valley.
Okay.
So we got out there and like we're not going to tour for a little bit. And we were like, we can't keep this bus. So the owner of the RV park really liked us and loved our story and wanted to be supportive. So he gave us a couple campers to live in this RV park. Oh, that's
cool.
Yeah. So we're in this yeah, so it was cool. It was a blessing. So we're there, and so we got rid of the bus. We're in these campers in LA, and then this dude like heard about that, or I don't know, Mitch must have been talking to him, and he invited us. He flew us to Florida for Thanksgiving to his house, and we had a blast just for the weekend. Went back home. So
Is
then
that
March,
is that a little weird?
you know what? We've been in a lot of weird situations, man.
Yeah,
We've spent holidays at a lot of weird places. So
Okay.
like, no, not really.
Okay, I get
Like
you're used
every
to it.
day we're
Yeah.
around people we don't know. So it's like, whatever.
Yeah.
So,
Like,
and we're really good at making friends. And I think we're really good at judging people. I think,
Right.
we know who we want to be around, who we don't at this point. So, he called us up. His birthday was coming up in March, and he wanted us to come play acoustic at his house for like a private party, which we do a lot of private parties.
right.
So, like, yeah, let's go to Florida. Like, it was cold in LA. It was winter. It was rainy. We're still living in campers, and it kind of sucked. And we didn't.
And it kind of sucked.
So we flew over there, and then like that weekend is when coronavirus made its debut across the country.
Right.
And everything was locked down, like in LA especially, went nuts. Like people were like, it just kind of escalated. He's like, well, this thing happened and LA is super weird. Why don't you stay like 3 more days? And we were like, all right. So we stayed till Wednesday. And he's like, just stay another week. You got nothing to go back to. And it was true. We had nothing to go back to. Like nothing was happening in LA, and we were living in a camper, and like we couldn't store food. So like people were freaking out about food and toilet paper and stuff. And like we couldn't keep food in the camper. So, and we didn't want to be there anyway. And so we were like in this beautiful home with his wonderful fiance and him and all these great people. And we stayed for 40 days. And
You're like
the
Noah's
pool.
Ark. Isn't that like 40
oh my
days
gosh.
and 40
He lived on a
nights?
golf course, which was shut down. So we could like ride bikes on it and do whatever we wanted. And like, he would have like, what's that steak company in Nebraska? Is it Omaha Steaks?
Omaha Steaks.
Yeah, Omaha. Every couple days, a truckload of Omaha Steaks would come in. Like we were eating the best food ever.
That's amazing.
And we would just play live on Facebook for our fans every night. And we launched this thing called the Keep Your Distance Tour. And we put out some shirts and did radio interviews and just really took the time to get close with our fan base. We really bonded with them and kind of heard their stories. We put out a song called Be the Lion, and we dedicated it. Our fan base is called the Wayland Warriors. They call them, a girl in Rockford, Illinois, started that back in like 2012 or 13.
That's great when the fan base has a name.
It's beautiful.
Really
and they become warriors too. Like they really take that to heart, and they help each other. It's been cool to see that community actually like become a community. Like they help each other with rides to shows or send each other merch as gifts. The people don't even know each other around the country.
That's pretty cool.
It's pretty neat. But anyway, we released a song called Be the Lion during the lockdown as like kind of a dedication to the essential warriors, which are the people that were out there, the nurses and the first responders.
Yeah.
We were hearing about this every night on the live. People were telling us, Facebook Live is such a cool interaction because they're telling us their situation while we're playing them songs. And so every night we would play a quarantine cover and then do like 3 or 4 songs from our catalog that we hadn't played in maybe years. We'd let them request, and it just became a fucking blast. Like it was a party every night, and it
probably gave you a purpose too, because like
it gave us a purpose. Or I would have had that anxiety like of not doing anything. I would have gone crazy. So at least we were.
That's a blessing and a curse, man. I've lived with that for many years.
Yeah, I work on it,
It's really, really hard.
It's just about channeling that energy. I could sit down and play guitar and it goes away, but you want to make movement. You want to gig. You want to make it happen.
Because you evaluate at least me, if I'm not totally aware, I evaluate myself based, which is like, why am I judging myself? Like, it's not like I don't have enough things to do based on my production.
Yeah.
And it's horrible because like, if I'm, but now I can, at least I'm aware of it. So I spend all time with my kids I used to work when my kids were here, and I'm like, what are you, an asshole? And then I'm like, no, now I'm like available. So it's changing, but it takes time for me anyway. Sorry.
That makes sense. No, but the pandemic was about that because we got back to LA and it, just as we had assumed, it sucked. Like it was just, everyone was locked down and masked up and there's just nothing going on. You
came from the polar opposite here.
Oh, we came from, yeah. So, but our unemployment finally kicked in, and like, we were sitting in that camper and I was like, man, I always heard of Joshua Tree. We should go check it out. Alyssa, my girlfriend, manages the band. And she's like, all right, whatever. So I got an Airbnb, and her and I went out to Joshua Tree, and we got this, cool little pad. And a buddy of mine texts me, he goes, hey man, we're having like a socially distanced party over here. in Joshua Tree. You guys should come. I was like, we're fucking in Joshua Tree. All right.
Yeah.
So it was like just weird timing. So we went over there and we find ourselves around this big dinner table, and it's like bands and a label person and a music manager and a publisher and an artist and a videographer. And like everyone's sitting there. Just the conversation at the table was how great it was to be in Joshua Tree and how LA is only 2 hours away if you need to go there. But how often do you really need to go there? Because the pandemic, and how cheap it is to live out there and how beautiful the land is. And I'm like, because I remember I was driving through and we were going to the Airbnb, and I said to Alyssa on the way in, I said, why would anybody ever live here? Like, it just reminded me, it was like small
funny.
town. Like it just didn't look like there's any resources at all, which there isn't, but that's kind of the beauty of it. But that night we were walking out to the car. My buddy was like hitting me hard about it. Like, you guys should move to Joshua Tree. I was like, dude, I'm not moving to Joshua Tree. And we got in the car. She's like, well, and like I said, we just gotten unemployment and we were like going to get out of the camper. We were looking for an apartment in LA.
Okay.
Which, you know, a 1-bedroom, 2 bedroom is like $2,800, $3,000.
Yeah, that's
with no parking
nuts.
and no place to rehearse and all that. You know, there's all this stuff. So I was like, let's just see. And she found this house immediately. It's like this pink hippie house, these murals all over it with a fenced-in yard and a garage that was already turned into a studio. I think maybe it had been like a grow operation. It was already kind of insulated. It was like 4-bedroom house, $1,200 a month. Like,
wow.
It just like, we're moving to Joshua Tree. Like, but we didn't say, it was kind of like, oh yeah, well, it's interesting. We got back, and then like, you know, you leave the desert, this mystical, magical, sacred land, and you drive back into the San Fernando Valley. It's like a big eye opener. You're like, oh God, like, you know, and you get out of the car and it stinks. And it was just like, we had a rehearsal studio, and I went down there and I started playing by myself, and I texted Alyssa. I was like, hey, you want to go back to Joshua Tree tonight? She's like, yeah. And so we got another Airbnb and went back, and we did it like 3 or 4 nights in a row. And we started hiking and kind of exploring the area. And we were so freaking sold. And we just, at that point, we could not wait to get out there. And we got a house immediately, and we all moved out there and built a studio. And then like, talk about it, just like, the part I was getting to is like letting go of all this stuff, because all of a sudden there was nothing around and nobody we knew. And it was just me and Mitch in our music, because we built ourselves a studio, and we documented it all on YouTube. There's all this great, episodes on YouTube of us moving to the house, getting the house. And
are you okay with that? How do you feel about that? Because that, unfortunately or unfortunately, that is kind of a necessity today to keep to, you know, how do you feel about that?
Well, again, it comes back to balance and boundaries, right?
Yeah.
I love sharing stuff. I love making funny little videos for our fans and showing them a glimpse into how we're doing it all, because I think they appreciate it.
Right.
But I also can't, man, for a while I was doing it and I was like becoming a video editor for 9 hours a day, and I can't do that either, because I'm not making music for everyone, you know.
Well, it's not fun.
No, it's not, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, we like that, but it's just a matter of time and stuff. But that house was a lot about that, you know, because we just come out of the pandemic, or not out of it, but from the Florida thing where we had reconnected with everybody in such a big way. We wanted to stay connected, and we wanted to take them with us to the desert. And dude, the desert changed our lives. Changed our lives.
What way?
You know, well, number one, it looks like Mars. Like, it looks like, from a guy from Michigan, I had never seen anything like it. And it's just really special. We started to wake up with the sun at like 5 a.m. And,
wow.
And yeah, you don't want to miss that sunrise. And we lived like 10 minutes from the national park. So we'd go out there and sit on a rock and watch the coyotes run around. And
that's kind of cool.
Oh my God. It was like nothing else. And it just gave Mitch and I this chance. We'd have, you know, we've worked with some incredible producers, from Michael Gurley to Jude Cole to Justin Reimer in Memphis. And, sorry, I'm forgetting someone really important. I feel like I can't remember. Anyway, just
Keith?
a lot of, Keith. Hello. Yeah. Well, we just come out of the thing with Keith, and what Keith taught me more importantly than anybody, Keith was really like the connecting dot, because I look up to him so much as a guitar player. Like, I love, dude, me and my friend like skipped school, you know, to go to Grand Rapids to the record store to buy that first Buckcherry album.
Oh yeah.
The video for Lit Up.
Yeah.
It was the coolest. It's like, that record was a big one for me, because it was like, wait a minute. Because like, you know, you hear the Beatles, like, okay, well, I can't sound like Strawberry Fields in my basement.
Right.
But that,
Yeah, it was
I think
tangible.
I can obtain that. I think I can almost do that here in my basement.
It's accessible, yeah.
In my own way. That, and like, that's why I kind of like the first Black Crowes records too, because they sound like a band.
Yeah.
You know, you could recognize all the sounds. So, and when we were in the studio with Keith, you know, it was kind of like, you know, like my instincts were right. Like as he was producing, it was a, well, what do you think? Like, okay, it was kind of a more of a back and forth. And it showed me how much I had learned from all those other producers. Like, you know, I think I can design the sound of Wayland maybe better than anyone else at this point.
Right.
Because, you know, that's what Keith was asking is, what do you guys want? How do you want to sound? And I didn't have an answer. I never had an answer because, like, in the beginning, like the Welcome to My Head EP was really, it was not my Wayland or Mitch's Wayland. It was like Jude Cole's version of Wayland,
right.
Honestly, is what he, you know, a producer comes in, they meet the band and they pull out what they think is the best of you and put it in there.
Sure.
You know, and we always we kind of relinquish control to a producer. Like I didn't,
which is what you're supposed to do.
Yeah. You're hiring them to do that. You're putting your trust in them, and they did a great job. I'm not saying they didn't.
Sure.
Justin Reimer in Memphis he did our record Ritz and Repeat. He brought out the best in us. He did such a good job at that. And so it was just getting to the point I could see where there needed to be a flip of the switch where nobody was going to really design the sound better than what Mitch and I could do.
Right.
And so that was our opportunity. We took the kind of the stuff that we'd done with Keith as a little bit of a blueprint, and we went to work in the desert. We didn't have really any microphones. We had like 3 microphones. So we did all the drums like Glenn Johns, where you just have the 2 and the kick, you know, and just got like a performance. Because we were just going to make demos, which was really what they are, I guess. But then I sent the files to like a buddy of mine that mixes big records. I was like, could you make this? Like, could this be loud enough? Like, would this, you know, I don't know, these files. He's like, dude, I have done way better with much worse. Like,
okay, cool.
Keep going.
That's awesome.
So we just literally went. And so like without the pressure of playing gigs for the first time, and with unemployment helping us out, we were able to really focus on the creative and truly design the sound of Wayland, which is who we are, which is the harmony that Mitch and I sing, which is the bluegrass music I was raised on, and the Chicago blues I was influenced by, and all the rock and roll in between. That's the sound of Wayland. And I think we really got it, you know?
That's really cool. I'm happy. And now this is going to be reflected on something coming.
Well, we got a batch of music and we haven't released it yet because it just kind of, it led to that music. Now that we finally kind of got that, it opened doors that led us to writing and recording with some other people, but to kind of take that maybe do it in a little bit better quality, because we were in the desert and in our garage, and you know, we want to put a record out that really sounds great. So we're kind of working on refining that right now.
Good, man. I'm glad you had this opportunity.
It was such a blessing. You know, and obviously there's so much horrible stuff that came out of the pandemic with so many people lost family members. I don't want to say it was a great thing. Yeah. But there was some good that came out of it for us.
I think there was obviously good and bad for a lot of different people, man.
Yeah.
You know, that's like everything else in life. Mm-hmm. How did you guys hook up with Keith, and how was that experience different from working with on prior records?
Well, I hunted Keith out because I was a huge fan, and we did some shows opening for Blackberry Smoke in Florida a couple years ago that were major eye-opening shows for me, because I've loved that band for a long time. Wait a minute.
You opened for them at Janus, right?
Nope. We did the Florida Theater, and is it in Jacksonville, I think, or Gainesville? Jacksonville.
Know.
The Florida Theater, I think. Something like that. We did that, and then we did one in Orlando with them.
Okay.
An outdoor thing. And I knew Keith, like Charlie's always been super cool. Actually, the amp that I play right now was Charlie's amp. It was built for him. I got it through trading some shit and the Echo Park guys. And
he's got a lot of equipment. Charlie's got a lot of gear as well. A lot of old Gibsons as well. Yeah.
I knew that Keith had co-written with them, and so I didn't know he was doing co-writing. So I heard that Charlie was writing with him, and a buddy in LA got me a writing session. So we went out to LA. Mitch and I, we had a bunch of writing sessions. Like it was like 2 weeks, and we were writing every day with different people. And one of them was Keith. And we just really hit it off with Keith. And he loved the band. He knew of the band, and had was really encouraging and like, what do you want to do? And I was we are hitting a bunch of roadblocks at rock radio. Like people were saying we were too country, which was like blowing my mind at the time. I was so disgusted, which I don't know why. Like I just, I don't know. It's, like it makes sense. All this bluegrass and blues is in my music. That's going to probably, when you mix that with rock and roll, it probably is going to translate to a country sound for certain people. But I was,
You're thinking the Eagles, man. That was, nobody told the Eagles they were too country. That's the problem. Yeah, you're raised on this music where it's become very it's very segmented.
Yeah, I know. I hate that label because it's all rock and roll.
Yeah, I agree. I'm the same.
So Keith really was like, wanted to explore that side of us and really help. And we recorded some songs and he was like, hey, dude, we should, let's do a record. Let's do it. So give me a chance to produce this stuff. And I was like, wow, like Keith would want to produce. And so we did one song called I'm Not All Right that we put out. And we did that. We partnered with a bunch of mental health organizations to really raise awareness of basically, the idea of it's okay to admit that I'm not all right. Just to say, hey, I might need to look at some opportunities, some meditation, or like look at some behaviors or some people in my life or whatever that might be. But that's kind of the first step.
Yeah.
Because, we've lost people in our lives to that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. And
to like what? Like drug addiction or something? Or to whatever extent you're comfortable.
Suicide, yeah. So we did the song and we ended up going into some high schools and talking about what it meant and opening up some conversations.
How did that go? I would imagine people were very receptive to that.
Yeah, I mean, especially the high school kids. Like that was some of the cool. I didn't really expect them to open up, and it was almost like they were waiting for the opportunity to say, "Yeah, I do feel really uncomfortable with myself, and I haven't been able to say it," or "Yeah, I am depressed. I do want to talk about it."
Yeah.
So that's what we were kind of.
It's tough being a kid, I think.
Yeah, well, the whole. I mean, you're literally groomed and raised to like someone says, I still do it. My girlfriend asked me what's wrong, and I say nothing. Something is definitely on my mind. Like you can see it physically by the way I'm acting or whatever. We all do it. Nothing really. And so that's the lyric in the chorus. It's like when I say I'm all right. I forget what it is, but I have to be singing it to do it. But it's that the whole thing of like when I say I'm all right, I'm really not. I'm totally lying. I don't know why I say that, but I do lie. So we did that with Keith and it was super fun and successful. And we brought him a bunch of songs. We brought him like 30 demos and we sifted through them. And he actually brought us a couple songs that him and Charlie had written.
Oh, cool. They do a lot of writing together.
Yeah. We didn't choose those. We ended up with our songs and a couple that we co-wrote. We actually brought another writer in that we really love. This guy named B Sam, super cool guy. He's from Kansas City. He's done stuff with like Lady Gaga and a bunch of other bands. He came in with us and we all wrote with Keith. And that was like such a cool mixture of people. It's very different.
How does that work when you have 4 people writing in a room?
Everybody, if they're good and respectful of each other, everybody kind of finds a role.
Okay.
Because they're like,
that makes sense.
It can be nerve wracking to bring in a person that you think might just be trying to get a word into like, and the way we do it is like, I'm not going to put up with any of that, like forcing a line or an idea like for percentages. Like we just say, if you're in the room, we're splitting this equally.
Percentages of what? I mean, no disrespect against any.
People want credit. They want.
No, I know, but like, I mean, with respect to getting paid.
Not anymore.
I mean, I don't mean any disrespect to you guys or any. That's not where the money is now.
No. I'd rather just get a great song written so we can get on the road and go sell t-shirts.
Right.
That's what we've been saying for years. We're not in the record business. We're in the t-shirt business.
Well, yeah, the merch business. That's, yeah. And in it to a big extent. Yeah, for sure. So but my question, somebody, and it sounds like it was you need a chief. You can't have everybody's like, someone's got to be the leader. And clearly when you said, I'm not going to put up with this guy wants to get a word in so he gets another %. This is how it works. We're all getting it. Give me 100% of what you can.
Yeah. And it's just a bummer when someone is like that. It's like, oh God. So it's just easier when it's fun and there's ideas flowing. And if someone like sometimes in a session and 4 people, one guy it'll all spill out and there it is. And you can't argue with it.
Right.
It's like, wow, I'm just lucky I was here for that.
Right. It's a brainstorming session. You just
we did some of our early songs like with Jude Cole. I mean, he's like, yeah, he's 30 years in on this and he works fast and he's good. You know, I'm not going to argue with it. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, there's the song. Shit. Well, you know, hopefully I can come up with a riff in the bridge or something at least.
Right.
You know, you just
Right.
add where you can and be happy to be part of learn from the scenario, you know. So I've never been like forceful with that kind of thing.
No, but it's stressful. I could see it because I would prefer going in as just assuming everybody's going to be given 110% right off the bat. Hey, I don't want you to, if I come up with this song, I don't want you to have to worry about coming up with a riff, because that's like stressful.
Yeah, it can be if it's awkward. Yeah, just being open with people and knowing, even like, to me, you know, I just tell myself, whatever happens today, it doesn't mean it's going to be on iTunes tomorrow. Like, we might never use it, or we might just take the second verse and that might be the chorus of another song.
Right.
Like, it's all just rock and roll music, and it's not going to hurt anybody. And if it does hurt, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
So it's got to be fun. You know, that we've really learned that over the years. Like, it sucks when it's not fun, because it's music.
Anything.
Like, that's why we do this, is to, like, you know, open people's hearts and minds and elevate their souls. And, like, so if we're doing it and, like, when we're tense and forcing it, like, that's not the right energy you're putting in.
Well, especially if it's like, I got to get that riff, you know, and then you're like a salesperson, like,
oh, I can't wait to write with them again.
Yeah. Hey, I want to ask you a question about one of your songs. You have a great, on Rinse and Repeat, man. You have an amazing track called Ode to 37. It's like a instrumental psychedelic blues rock jam. It's like, I could listen to music like that all day over. And I mean, it's just a great track. I just was curious, like, what's the backstory to that?
We took that off. That was something we did in our live show every night. And we did it in the middle of it, developed. And you know that we used to cover Whole Lot of Love, the Zeppelin song.
Okay, sure.
And, you know, there's that, you know, well, that part turned into exactly what that was.
Oh,
where I would start playing a riff, Mitch would sing it, and it would just, we do this, and we would just go back and forth and just build, and it would end into, it just gets so big, and then into the bump, into the Jimmy Page solo thing. But that was, so our producer at the time, Justin Reimer in Memphis, who was just an amazing musician. Oh my God. Well, he started producing the band, and we're working on this record. He had never seen us live. And then they did a Full Throttle Fest. Jesse did in Memphis, and we played it. We opened for Jackal, and he got to come out and see us. And he was like, I wish I would have seen you live. Like, now I understand the band so much better. Like, that one thing you do, we got to get that in a song. And this thing we got to, you know, so a lot of our, like, my favorite stuff in songs has kind of been stuff that we've developed on the road as part of other songs or covers. Like we used to do Fat Bottom Girls all the time. So that's how we came up with the intro to Reno. I don't know if you heard, like, it's like a 3-part harmony intro.
Yep.
So just taking stuff that we love to do that brings out the best in the band, and, you know, slap it in a song, call it ours.
I love that. I love that. I really just like that kind of, you know, and your guitars, just, you can get lost in it throughout the whole, it's great. It's really, it's just cool. That's stuff I like.
I had a special orange amplifier that I borrowed from Zach Myers from Shinedown. You know that band?
Yeah, of course. Yes, I know Shinedown really well, but who Zach Blair? Wasn't it
Zach Myers is his
Zach
name.
Myers? Okay.
He lives in Memphis, and so Mitch and I were staying at his house while we were making Rinse and Repeat, and he was out of town. He's like, literally said, take whatever you want to the studio. And he's got so many amps and guitars. And I would just, like, take a handful every day in, and with this one white, I think it was like a 50-watt orange amplifier. It was something special about that. And I used it on, like, almost the whole record.
What guitar were you playing on that track? Was that your 335?
Yeah, my 335.
It sounded great.
Definitely.
It sounded wonderful. I mean, that's such a beautiful guitar. Tell me, Phil, top 3 musical experiences you've had so far, and why?
Well, man, you know, definitely musical experience. I mean, when I started playing with Mitch, and, like, you know, I kind of developed the way I play around the way he plays. So, like, this, hearing our guitars talk, you know, or he's playing a chord in one position and I'm playing in another, and melodies are happening in and out of each other, like that kind of like weaving in and out of each other. When we really hit that happened when we were, like, you know, 18 years old. As soon as we met, we started,
when you were busking, pretty much.
Yeah. We started to kind of touch on it.
That's
and
great.
we'd do that busking all day, and then we would play parties at night. And during the songs, we would like have breakdowns where we'd tell the stories about some of the shit that happened to us on the beach.
Yeah.
We're two guys playing, so we would run in, we'd be hanging with, with homeless people and other surfers, or just anything could happen.
Yeah.
When we were out there, and it did.
Tell me a
Everything
funny story.
Well, I just remember like one time, like we met these two surfer guys that just happened to be walking by, and they maybe say hi to us every day. Then finally they invite us back to their apartment, and we would just jam, and then one's a bartender, so he starts making cocktails. Pretty soon we're just like blind drunk, trying to get back to fit. Every day we would just try to make enough money really to get dinner and get the bus back to the other, back to our apartment.
Sure.
So it's just always an adventure. I mean, and we did hear a lot of stories. Like one guy told me he was Jimi Hendrix's cousin, and we talked all day to that dude. And then after a while, the sun starts to go down. And you like can't get rid of this guy.
Okay, so playing with Mitch.
Oh yeah, so playing with Mitch. Musical. I mean, honestly, opening for some of our heroes over the years Blackberry Smoke was a really big one because they were just so musical, and they gave me. I was so inspired by that band because. And I still am, because they just didn't play by any rules. Like I said, like we were being told we were too country for rock, even though we were charting and getting brick walls at like Sirius Radio and Cumulus or some of these big ones. I just was so inspired by the fact that Charlie took his band and did whatever he wanted and was just really good at it. And it worked. Like I love that. And he, and he clearly a fan of the same bands I was, like the Beatles and stuff. So, and the Stones and Zeppelin and all that. And, so yeah, that was I could just hear all of my favorite bands in their music. And, that was a big moment for me seeing those guys. And probably the other, I'm trying to think, of another big musical, another big musical moment for me. It's going to sound so crazy. We were playing in Texas and we were opening up for Kip Winger. By himself, not Winger. And I'm not a Winger. I don't even know Winger. I've never even heard, I heard of them, maybe seen some like posters that I thought were kind of silly. Kip Winger gets on stage by himself with a 12-string guitar and blew my fucking mind. He was insane. I mean, he was funny. He was musical beyond anything I'd ever seen. I just could not believe it, man. He was like a big eye opener of what's possible. Just one guy up there. Like he's incredible.
He wrote an opera.
I would not put it past him.
Yeah, he wrote an opera, I'm pretty sure.
I still haven't really taken the time to get into Winger since, but I'll never forget that night.
Low points, Phil. What were some of the low points or dark periods you've had to deal with, and how'd you get through them?
Well, like I said, there was a time when kind of at the end of that touring when it had really taken a toll on everybody. And I think, the guys that we had been with for 11 years were getting a lot of pressure from their families and their fiancés to come home. And it was sad for me because we had been through so much together, and that was the point where we finally were playing in front of crowds and we were finally charting on the radio, and all the work we had done playing to nobody, you're going to let someone talk you into bowing out at this point. And of course, it's such a bummer because, believe it or not, when your rock star comes home and works at a grocery store, it's not as thrilling. And they soon don't want that anymore.
Believe it or not. Yeah, that's horrible, man.
It fucking sucked, man. Watching the people I believed in so much, I'm like, dude, don't, you can't tell someone what to do. I'm not gonna, because I look like the one that's trying to keep them, so it was just like this horrible, horrible time because we were losing our best friends.
That's awful, man.
For Mitch and I, it was like I said, it was worse than any divorce, or breakup that we'd ever been through. It was really, really hard. And everyone looks at you like you're the asshole, like you can't keep the band together.
Yeah.
But you can't control what people do. You don't realize that at your job where you work, people change positions all the time.
Sure.
This is just so different because it's a family. I know there's a lot of bands that have kept their members for 20, 40 years, and that's just incredible. That's my dream. I want a band of brothers. It's just the way we've done it, being an independent band. we learned a lot of lessons, and it was, 'cause all those times, dude, we were touring like that. We were paying ourselves like $100 a week, $125 a week. So it was like so impossible, like no matter how much someone believed in it, like it was just really, it was a challenge, and it was a constant like figuring out how we're going to do this,
How did you
war on everybody,
how did you reconcile to yourself? That's a tough thing to do too, because you look, you love what you do, but you're making $100 a week. You're making $8,000 a year doing it. How did you reconcile to yourself? Okay, I need to still do this.
Well, like I said,
because that's not easy.
Yeah, I know. And every time that we would have those moments, and there's only been a couple that we really, that Mitch and I really sat down and asked ourselves that, there was just something in us that we couldn't stop, because like we knew that there were people that like, dude, like, we don't have the biggest fan base in the world. We're not, we're not Metallica, but like we have a really hardcore fan base. Like this music really does mean a lot to them on a really personal level. And that means a lot to us, because that's all we've ever wanted. When we were that band in LA that was playing the Viper Room once a month, we rehearsed at this place downtown. It's called Downtown Rehearsal. Just big old warehouse, and all the rooms are, every band rehearses there, from like, you see the guy from Anthrax walking in to people like us, like
right.
Anybody could be there at any time. And we'd see those white vans and trailers coming in and out of town, bands that had gigs, that were touring. Like that's all we wanted so bad for so long. And dude, I've wanted this, like when I was 5, 6 years old, I was pretending to be Elvis in the mirror. I've wanted this since I was a little kid. Like I have been drawn to this for some reason. I don't know why, it's just like, I really love it. And when Mitch and I do what we do together, we believe in that, and we've seen it affect people.
Yeah.
So like, through the, as dark as it's gotten, and yeah, it has, like, there's been times that there's like a year period where Mitch and I hardly spoke to each other on the road.
Yeah, because that makes total sense. It's
things were so stressful and confusing.
It's like a marriage, man. It's and what affects marriage is worse, the financial shit, a lot of times.
Yeah, absolutely. And Alyssa came in and changed a lot of that. Like, she came in as our basically a friend that was going to help with our social media, and it led to so much more because of she's a background in a Fortune 500 company, and she really took a look at it from an outside perspective and started like saying, you are going to burn out if you don't figure out how to handle this money situation, or how we just didn't have anybody there. I was like putting ourselves in a bus and having a crew, because like when we're on the road all the time, what I at least want to do is make my band happy and comfortable.
Sure.
But unfortunately, because we had the bus and the crew and all this shit, we couldn't pay ourselves.
You only have X amount of dollars.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and I was seeing bands that are in a abandoned trailer that were going home and having houses and stuff, so
yeah.
It's just like, she really helped me kind of sort that out. And unfortunately, there were some people, around, like band members and stuff, that if we weren't going to be in a bus, they didn't want to be in the band. I was like, it's like everyone's priorities get really put on the table for that. It's all part of it, and I'm grateful for the journey. Like that's one thing, like the journey has been incredible. And I've learned so much about like what goes into the music. It's like the ingredients you put in is how the soup is going to taste, Let
me ask you this, and if you're uncomfortable, totally cool, we can skip it. So to whatever extent you're comfortable asking, when you evaluate stuff, like I'm not a religious person at all, zero, but I am a pretty, in my own way, spiritual person, like I believe something or someone is up there. So I have a higher power looking after me. Right. And so when you're going through times like that, that's when that, at least for me anyway, that's when I sort of, okay, who do I trust here? And is the universe looking out for me? And how do I get signals? Do you go through any of that stuff? Like, I need a sign, or like, show me, not like in the movies, like, show me this, but in real life, you want to know like the decisions you're making, or or what you're supposed to be doing, whatever that means to each of us. What is your thoughts on that?
I mean, Mitch and I we're super into I mean, we've always looked for signs in everything that we do, and we don't believe anything's a coincidence.
Right.
So again, I believe that those people, like, let's just talk about those people that came into our lives and left the band for whatever reason. I do believe that was part of the journey, and that they were supposed to leave the band at that time, and they were also supposed to be there when they were there.
Yeah. Right.
And so like, and that's the thing. I could say, oh, that band's been together for 40 years. Well, that's their journey.
Right.
That's another thing, is I can't, it's like being in the car on the highway and saying you don't want to stop, pull over to get gas or pee because these other cars are going to get there before you. I don't know where they're going or when they're going to get there.
Yeah.
I have to get gas when I get gas and pee when I pee, and then I have to keep going. I'm on my own trip to Disneyland, you know? So, yeah, man, we are like, Mitch and I we have conversations constantly about the cause and effect in our life and the people around us and the sound. And like, dude, like when we're on the right path, we are magnets for the right people. And that's
the thing.
It's nuts. And when you're not, you're not, like
it's resistance. Like every day is like waking up and hitting your head against a rock.
And that's so easier said than done, because when you're in that spot of resistance or doubt or lack, it just piles up, and it's so hard to get out of that. And I've been there, dude. Like I'm a human being, to say I've always just believed that everything is roses and just been walking, that's not true.
No, that's not reality.
Yeah. So, but I feel very lucky when and like I said, Alyssa was a really big part of helping Mitch and I get into this place of,
and that's part of your journey. Having her in your life.
Obviously. It's huge. Yeah. She's changed everything for us.
She's
helped. Yeah. She's helped us really just define, what we're out here to do and how we're going to do it. And that gave us the drive and the direction and mapping out the steps that we want to take. And because, it's not just like, what do you want to do? Well, I want to be the biggest band in the world. Yeah. Okay. Well, what are you going to do today?
Right. That's
you're
great.
Really pissed tonight when you haven't got there yet.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, it's one step at a time. Yeah, man, I'm with you on that.
And she helped us weed out a lot of people that were, static. I think the world is like, it's like you can get into the frequency of distraction. And once you're in that, you're just like, these distractions can overcome. It's like quicksand almost.
Yeah.
But if you just stay away from that quicksand and stay clear of those distractions, it is so much easier. And for a band, it's all distractions.
Yeah.
People stroking your ego, to partying, to just like,
well, it's interesting.
Partying is a huge one,
Well, it's just interesting the celebrity, what's the word I'm looking for? The affinity people have to celebrities is really weird. I mean, it's nuts. And like people probably want a piece of you all the time, because I just see how people act with guests that I have on the show. It's just like really weird.
I don't think so. I mean, we're like, like I said, we're accessible. If someone writes us, we write them back. Like we're right here with everybody. We're in the trenches. We're doing, and even after our third world tour, when the Foo Fighters and U2 are opening for us, like we're still going to write people back.
Yeah. I hope so, man. That's awesome. Anything you're looking to do more of over the next few years?
Play the guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like, that was like it's still a big thing for me. Like, because I do a lot of that business stuff and, but I really like, and if that means like I've kind of like designed it here, like now, like if it means waking up early and going to bed later, I do,
Yeah.
If it's, if I learn a song a day or whatever it might be, like playing guitar, that's not so much Wayland stuff, like just playing for me personally, because like, it's funny because, my guitar is my job, but it's also like my favorite thing to do. It's my hobby. It's my passion.
Right.
So it's like, if I don't get time to sit around and just play a bunch of nonsense, like I'm not
like go on YouTube like every other guy and just.
I do. I love it. It's like, but I have to have time for that.
Yeah.
I have to make time for that. I love those backing tracks and stuff.
Yeah.
Jamming along. It's great.
Awesome. Speaking of which, let's talk about your gear for a little bit. What's your go-to guitar right now? And what other two round out your top three?
I just got a new guitar.
With NGD,
I'm
New Guitar Day.
Excited about it. I'm so excited about it. I was in Carter Vintage in Nashville, and I was actually shopping for an amp, and this dude, I was like, well, what guitar? I don't know. I'm in Nashville. I want to play a Telecaster,
Yeah.
So he hands me a Tele, and I'm playing. I'm like, oh my God, I love this thing. He's like, yeah, and then I looked, it wasn't a Fender.
Is it Nash?
No, I do have a Nash. That's funny. I have 2 Telecasters, and one's a Nash. I love it. But this is a Bellevue.
I've never heard of that. Do you have it there?
No. I don't.
Okay.
It's in the trailer. I wish.
Okay.
We're leaving tomorrow, so I wish I had it right now. As we got, I'm like, he's not going to do a show and tell. I don't need to get. But there's a bunch of pictures on my Instagram of it.
Belleview?
No, VUE at the end, I think.
Okay, Bellevue. Okay.
I think so.
VUE. Okay.
No, it's not Bellevue. It's Bonneville. I'm sorry, Bonneville.
Okay. Where is that?
Screwed up.
I never heard of that. Where is
Bonneville? Type it in. He's on Instagram. Bonneville Restorations. He's this dude. He was a guitar tech for most recently for the Black Crowes.
Okay.
And but I know he did David Bowie and a few others, and he only does like a couple of guitars a year. And I went crazy over this guitar once I played it. They're kind of like it's like $2,700. It's kind of expensive for a guitar that's not a Fender,
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
for a brand I'd never heard of.
Right,
but
it's not expensive for a custom. It's actually very reasonable.
A custom
for
shop's $5,000, $6,000,
yeah.
and that's the thing is it's like custom shop quality. He puts so much love and care into this. You can tell, and this is like it sounds so good. Arcane Pickups, which is a guy in LA that I know. He made me some pickups from my White Falcon.
Timmons. I had him on here ages ago. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
he made me some pickups for my White Falcon, but maybe 2 years ago that I just love.
I actually had Carter here if you ever want to listen, because I know you're a fan of the store. I actually had.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it was a long time.
I am. I go in there like once a week, and
do you have a wing named after you?
Find all the stuff that I like, can trade. It's like an ongoing thing.
So does Bonneville make only tellies?
No, he makes Strats too. And I know he does like aging and stuff. Like he just did a Firebird for Rich Robinson from Black Crowes. But I'm just such a fan, dude. I want a Strat from him so bad now. This Telly just changed my life because I'm a 335. I'm really a Gibson guy. Like I love 335s. I've got a 65. It looks a lot like the one you have hanging there.
That's not a vintage story about that, but yeah, I saw your guitar. It's awesome.
Yeah, well, I've got a 65, and I also have the one I play most on the road is like an 07, the Dot.
Okay.
The 65's got a Bigsby and stuff, and then I got the Nash. It's like kind of the Keith Richards thing with the pickup in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got a 1960 VOS Les Paul and a Black Beauty that I love at home here, and a Gratsch White Falcon.
So you got a lot of really cool guitars.
I love guitars, dude, and I don't have the most expensive or collectible guitars. I really go because mine get beat up, dude. Like I use them for tools.
Mm-hmm.
Like for instance, I've got this Gibson J200 that Kiefer Sutherland gave me as a gift. That thing, I could have kept it in a case, but I took it on the road nonstop.
Yeah,
been on every radio show across America. And my dad just recently, 2 years ago, he gave me a D18, his D18 Martin that he's had for since I was in high school.
That's really cool.
Oh man, my dad and I have a special bond with guitars. Like I just sold him my Dobro. Like I had a 70s Dobro, and it's kind of a trade back and forth nonstop, and it's a fun thing. We love to hunt them out together and find a good, I've got a 1973 jazz bass that he found when I was in high school and in someone's garage in pieces, and
that's cool.
Constant, like Joe Bonamassa has the guitar Safari. It's a similar, my mom always jokes that she never wants to hear the words that I'll take it. That's our phrase.
That's funny. I just read, did you know Norm Harris from Norm's Guitar? Yeah. I just read his book. It was pretty funny about, it's like stories of buying and selling guitars. It's pretty funny.
Yeah. And that was a thrill working with Keith because if we want to put an echo on something, he pulls out an actual 70s echo rack or, you want that sound. Well, then we get this guitar with the high watt. We went for the real thing every time. It was not just finding the sound in whatever amp we might have. It's like, oh, you want to be chimey? Okay, then we get the 1962 Vox with the Rickenbacker 12 string, you know. That was such a great experience. And he really opened me up to P90s. I don't have anything with P90s. I really want something.
Let me tell you what, I got that. It's an Eastman. I can't recommend that high enough. I haven't played anything since.
Really?
They have Lawler P90s. And I love that 335. But I mean, these P90s,
there's such an openness about them.
Oh, it's just, and you can play anything from jazz to anything, man. Blues, rock. I just love it, man.
I just put Lawlers in my Black Beauty. I love Lawler pickups. Mitch just got some for his telly too. I think they're making some of the best pickups.
I think so, man. I've never heard anything this good.
No, and if you go put one in and not the other, then the other pickup's like it's worthless.
Did Keith introduce you to Dave Amato?
Oh, well, he tried to. That's funny. We went and saw them while we were doing that. We went and saw them in LA play, and we were going to go to lunch together with Keith, and we just couldn't connect.
He's got a guitar collection.
Oh my God. I saw the video.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. He's got 50 Marshall Plex, 50 Marshall Plexes. Yeah. It's pretty nuts.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this is really necessary. That's a bit much.
It is a lot. Ever sold a guitar you wish you can get back?
All of them. My God.
Really?
Yeah, I got a really good friend in LA. Well, no, he's in the Bay Area now, but this is kind of cool. His name's Reggie, and his dad was a bass player on all the Chess recordings.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, his dad was a jazz guitar player though. His name was Reggie Boyd, and his dad was the bass player on Johnny Be Good and all those Chuck Berry songs. And his dad's like he grew up with B.B. King would come over and take lessons from his dad. Curtis Mayfield would come over and take lessons from his dad.
That's
Jimi Hendrix would come over and take lessons from his dad. And I don't know, his dad apparently showed Chuck Berry how to play the,
that's pretty cool.
For Johnny Be Good. Yeah. So anyway, Reggie became a really good friend of mine in Los Angeles. I started out taking lessons from him for a while, and then we just became friends, and he's been like kind of a guitar sensei. I mean, I've never been able to really execute anything he showed me, but I've tried. He grew up he played with the Staple Singers as a guitar player from age 17 on, and just had a lot of amazing high profile gigs that never really became a name himself, because he's just kind of the guy that played the guitar,
Yeah.
But anyway, he gave me a guitar as a gift, and it was so cool. It was I wanted a Firebird so bad because I love Johnny Winter, and it was a ESP, but it was an exact replica of a Firebird.
Mm-hmm.
So
they make some, yeah.
But I can't find it. There's one for sale on Reverb in England. It's like $6,000. And this thing was so perfect. It was like the perfect, it was like all the issues that people have with Firebirds, the tuning, it didn't have it. Cause the guys at ESP, when they do something in the custom shop, they're really great guitars. I'm not like an ESP guy really, but this thing was a Gibson. It was a Firebird, nothing different, but it said ESP at the top. And I needed money. I got a girlfriend. We wanted to get an apartment. And so I freaking took it to some shop on Sunset, down next to Guitar Center. And I think I got $1,200 for it or something, which was exactly what I needed at the time. But it was a priceless guitar that it was a blues machine. And I've looked for one, just to fix my soul. I've tried to find one. If I could just get another one, it would make me feel better about it.
Let's put it out right here. When was that? What year was that?
Well, it was all black. God, it was probably 2007 or 8.
All right. In the off chance you are the person, or the person that acquired Phil's ESP that looked like, is it a Firebird?
It's a full-on Firebird. Yeah.
Black. Describe it.
It's black. It's a black Firebird, black through and through with a white pick guard,
There you go.
ESP at the top in gold. Yeah. And that one just really, and because Reggie is such a special person to me.
Yeah.
And it's just I'm super sentimental about stuff.
Yeah.
Like the D18 from my dad. My girlfriend got me that VOS Les Paul over there. that stuff, I can't sell that stuff. Like if I ever try to talk myself into it, I will just, it'll eat me forever, because like,
Right.
even if I don't play it, or like I'd rather have something else, you know, like guitars are they're such an heirloom to me. They're such a remembrance of a time in my life or whatever. Like, they become such a part of me in a weird way. I hate selling them, you know. It's just, I've made a pact with myself. I'm really going to buy the stuff I really feel connected with, so I don't ever even risk having to go through the trauma of selling.
No, I get it, man. I get it. And so if anybody has this guitar, please reach out to Phil on social media channels, on Instagram, or is that the best way to, or hit
that would blow my mind, dude.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Yeah.
That would be really cool. So all we could do is put it out there.
Charge me 10 grand to get it back, you know?
Well, I can't control that. Give me your top 3 Desert Island discs just for this moment.
Easy. Exile on Main Street.
Yeah.
The White Album. And probably that Southern Harmony from Black Crowes.
Yeah. That's a great record. You know what? I hear your music in all those. Your music is rooted in all that, so it's really easy that I'm not surprised that you picked these. I mean, they're all really.
Yeah, and those are like, you know, to me, like especially like the Stones and the Black Crowes, that like the roots go back to where I liked it. Like dude, I don't know why. I really love the blues so much. It's the most expressive guitar playing to me.
Yeah.
And I love the expression of the guitar. Like, I'm just not really one for like shredding notes. I appreciate that stuff, but like, I love the expression. Like Buddy Guy is probably, you know, my favorite as far as living players. I don't try to play like him at all. He plays like him. It's his voice, you know? Yeah. And that's what's so cool about it. Nobody can play like him because it's his expression. Like that's what it's about.
Yeah.
For me. And obviously, I mean, the Beatles, like George Harrison's playing, or any of those guys, like I love that they come from a place of melody, that it's not from a place of guitar riffs or licks. Like it's truly about a part, which is like an orchestration. Like it could be a piano. That part could have been played on any guitar part for the Beatles, like could be played on horns, or it could be played on the piano.
Yes.
You know, it's really it's a musical part. And I love that about music, or about the guitar, you know.
Tell me something, Phil, that you want that you don't have now. And it could be something tangible, or it could be like a mindset, or anything in between.
Well, I really want one of those Karina V's, you know. No, yeah, and you know, I might, like I said, lately, the lesson that I'm trying to achieve is balance, and that's in every part of my life, from diet and fitness to business and art, in relationships, you know, balance.
Cool. Do you have a hero?
Yeah. My dad's my hero for sure. Yeah. There's no question. Like, you know, because he's an artist, and he's an amazing husband, and he's a great friend. Yeah, he is absolutely my hero.
Cool. Do you have any siblings?
Nope. I'm an only child.
Okay.
And I think that's why, like, when I met Mitch, you know, and I've had friends in my life, like growing up and stuff, I like would kind of latch on to a certain friend or something, almost like a sibling.
Sure.
You know,
that makes tons of sense. Yeah.
Mitch has brothers, you know, but I'm not jealous of them, you know. But, you know, when I met Mitch, like we became like family.
Yeah. I got that sense when you talked about him earlier, the way you spoke. What do you like most about yourself?
I think a buddy of mine told me recently, it was kind of a revelation. A friend I've known since we were like 5 years old. He said, you know, he was actually telling somebody about me in front of me. He said, Phil's got the superpower where he can go in a room and make friends with anybody. I've never seen anything like it. And I didn't really realize that, but it was a beautiful compliment. And, you know, I guess, you know, I appreciate that about myself.
That you can get along well with anybody.
Yeah. I'm I'm not usually intimidated to talk. Like, I'm pretty open to talk to people, and I can put myself out there if I need to say something stupid to make people laugh or whatever it might be, just to create that connection.
Yeah, that's cool. That is a talent. Something that you miss or something or someone you miss from your childhood?
Man, I miss all the things that come with a childhood, like not having the distractions, not having to worry about paying car insurance or getting your car registered or like bills. All that stuff starts to happen like when you become 18 and all this like mail comes that you never had before. It's like, God, what the hell?
I know the lack of responsibility.
Yeah, it's just all distractions.
I get it, man. I totally get it. Do you have any hobbies outside of music?
I've got a dog that I really love. I love the shit out of him, and he's a hobby because you have to take it. It's like what I love about having him is that it's the thing that takes my focus off of me.
Yeah,
like I got to worry if he ate or like if his stool is not too soft or whatever, or if he hurt himself or whatever. I have to worry about him. I don't have any kids, so that's like.
Well, don't make the mistake that like a dog is good training ground for a kid, because I
don't think that
it's like really not, because they don't answer back and like their needs are fucking endless, and like and instead of getting easier as they get older, they get harder. It's just like,
That's good advice. No, I don't think of it that way. He's just kind of the thing that's like a little outside for me. Of
animals are so special. I love animals.
Yeah.
What kind of dog you have?
He's a little like on the website. We rescued him in the desert.
That's cool.
They listed him as a bucket of parts. He's kind of like
that's cool. A bucket.
He's a
of
handsome
parts.
little fella.
That's awesome. We've rescued tons of animals over the years, man.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's a cool thing to do.
It's a special thing, man. I'd rescue every dog I could if I could. It's hard not to do more. But with our schedule and stuff, that'd just be irresponsible.
It's just hard. My wife got so into it when we don't go to shelters anymore. We actually go out and like find stray cats, capture them, they're ferals, and then we like rehab.
Do you guys really?
Yeah. I mean, it's not like all the time. We've just done that a couple of times. And this one, I didn't plan on keeping it, but I felt so bad right before she got in the cage. She was jumping for joy with her mom. And I felt
nuts.
I felt so horrible that I removed her from her mom. We eventually wound up rescuing the mom and getting her like fixed, but we had to put her out because we had no place to, because she was like a year old and she'd already had like 7 kittens or something like, so my wife's like, we got to like fix this anyway. So that's,
when you can tap into an animal's communication, that's like something that Charlie has taught me a lot. Is like, he communicates with me in a different way. Like he, by showing me what he's on his mind, or if he's
Charlie
needs a bath, or Charlie, my dog.
Yeah.
But it's taught me that about people a lot. It's like, people can tell me what they want without telling. Like sometimes their words will say one thing, but their actions are telling me another thing. Like, why wouldn't I listen to their actions? Why wouldn't I look at what they're not saying sometimes?
Yeah.
That's been a big lesson this year too.
That's cool, man. From the pandemic, just from being so isolated with people, to pick that up.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's a great skill set to have too, man.
Yeah. It's all it's all in the name of survival, and
But it's a good skill set to have, to understand. There goes your dog right there, man.
What?
Wow, he's so quiet. Isn't that your dog right there?
No, that's I can pull it. Hey, Charlie.
Yeah, that's your black. He's black. I just saw him. Yeah.
Oh, did he pop up? Okay. Oh,
yeah. He's so mellow. Oh my God.
Yeah, he's been chilling out. Here he is. Come
Awesome. Awesome dog. Very cool.
Charlie. Yeah, he just hangs
very
out.
Cool.
There he is. Got the microphone.
And animals that you rescue, at least we've had some of this experience. It's almost like they know they were in the shit and they appreciate it.
Yeah, he really appreciates it.
Yeah, they're very grateful.
Yeah, he just hangs out and kind of waits to find out what we're gonna do next.
That's cool, man.
We want to take him on the road. That was the idea. Like, I wanted a dog that we could keep with us all the time.
Yeah.
He's got some, being a rescue, he's got some stuff where he like barks at people that come on the bus or something. So we're working on that. I don't want to have the a-hole dog on the road. So
no, but
when the time is right.
You know what we did? We had a dog and she freaked out when it rained, and we got CB, like gummies, basically.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And we would give her half or a third of a gummy because
See
the
if Mitch
doctor,
has anything he can spare.
yeah, because the doctor was like, oh, he had basically given the dog like some like psychotropics. And I'm like,
To chill him out.
yeah. And I'm like, no, because, people take those and it takes months and if they're in agony, they can communicate. I just felt like, man, I don't have to put my animal through that. So I just gave him a third of a gummy bear and she was great.
Really?
It was great, for us.
Yeah, we talked about trying that. Maybe we will. Because it was more. Is that stuff available everywhere? Dog CBD? I think it is. Yeah. It is.
No, it was not CBD. It was THC and CBD. Yeah. No, I don't think
California, that's more available. Here, it's like Tennessee. You have to buy it on the black market.
That's why you need kids.
That's right. Kids have connections to that stuff.
Toughest decision that you ever had to make, or most difficult thing you had to do?
Well, I the one part of this job that I don't, being the leader of the band, that I just is hard on me is like, firing people or letting them go, even if it's someone that deserves it, even if it's like truly, and usually it is for the best for them as well, like a crew guy or something, like this is just not a good fit. It's still hard for me to have that conversation, so that's definitely it.
Just a couple of questions, and thanks so much for your time. Most important lesson life has taught you?
We've talked about a lot of them, haven't we?
Yeah.
Probably surrounding, like just surrounding myself with the people I want to be surrounded with, like that you don't have to be surrounded with the ones you don't want, you know what I mean? That's that selectiveness and kind of choose, like that I can create my own world around me, I guess.
Good.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. It's smart.
Yeah. It's a powerful thing when you can be consistent with that.
Yeah. It is, and it's important. Any final words of wisdom?
Always buy more guitars. The guitar it's funny. Like this is a guitar. Everybody loves guitars, or everyone loves guitars interview, but we talk so much about life. And I love that about your show, because the guitar is it's the vehicle that like has taken me on this journey. Like all this stuff I went through that we talked about that I didn't really know we were going to get into is all because I play guitar. Because it's like, it just leads you in these places. And that's something I love about music and guitar. And I tell a lot of people this is like, it can be everything from you playing alone in your bedroom. Like that's the guitar for you, and that's okay. Or you can be playing in arenas or anything in between, whether it be playing at church or whether it be going to a blues jam every second Thursday of the month. If that's what it is for you and it's that outlet and it's that expression, that's all it needs to be. Because some people are like, oh, I'm not like you. I just play in the house. That's what it's supposed to be. That's so cool.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of guitar players that are a lot better than I am that don't do it professionally. It's not, I shouldn't say better. It's not that they're better, but I wish I knew the shit they knew, but I think the guitar just has to be, it's a personal thing. It's an individual thing. It's a form of expression. It's a voice. Like that's what it's got to be about. Like that's what I would hope to share with anybody about the guitar.
Well, thanks, man. And I will tell you, you are a hell of a guitar player and you do a great job expressing yourself. And I would love everybody to check out the band Wayland. These guys do a great job. Let me tell you a few things that Phil and the band has going on. First of all, you could find the band on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. So if you could follow them and subscribe to their social channels over there. Their website is Wayland the Band, WAYLAND, WaylandTheBand.com. Their latest single is called On the Way, and sometime they're going to have new music coming out in the next 3 to 6 months, probably.
Yeah, sometime.
Okay, sometime
in between. Come find us on the road, because
talk about that. You got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, I mean we're doing dates in all the fun markets, because like that's kind of how we're figuring out. Like we got in the desert and we like recorded that stuff. Well, now we're coming on the road and we're trying a bunch of new material. Of course, playing all the favorites like Get a Little and Reno that everybody wants to hear. But like, with the Wayland Warriors and our fan base, we are doing this together. So yeah, we're going to play the new material and try it out probably, before it hits the studio. They're going to hear it on the road. And it's a fun thing. We're keeping it fun. And the experimentation and the expression of it is like, this is the funnest part about it is now like the next couple of months is we're writing songs like crazy, especially now that we're in Nashville meeting all these new friends to write with. So we're just going to write songs during the week and go play them on the road. It's
That's
like
awesome, man. I just figured out why you look different. All the pictures you have a really nice hat, but it's a big brim hat. Yeah.
I love that. That's my favorite hat. I do wear a lot of shit now. My buddy Charlie made that out, and I think he's in Arizona. He wasn't in Los Angeles.
It's a cool hat.
Yeah, thanks, man. That's
also
why I look different.
I was trying to. Yeah, that's what it was. Like, oh man, this guy's like dropped 15 years. It was the hat. Yeah. Fan club. Wayland's got a really good fan club called the Wayland Warriors. You mentioned, check them out if you want to get more involved. It's through their website, waylandtheband.com. They do really cool stuff. They have a Zoom call for their fans every month. The group gets behind the scene photos. They get merch earlier and they get merch discount. They actually get anytime the band records demos, they put it up there for their fans in that fan club to listen to. So check that out first. Also, if you have a lot of money and you like the band, they're available for private parties. So make sure you what's the best
money?
Yeah, a lot of money. Lot like capital LOTT. What's the best way for people if they want to hire you for a private party? Is there a contact tab on waylandtheband.com?
Yeah, there is.
Okay.
Yep, there is 4 private parties actually, I think. Or you can always just write us on Facebook. That's what people
do that. And is that it? And is there anything else I can promote? Toothbrush, toothpaste.
No, I think we've covered everything. Wow, I have such a reflection. I feel differently about my whole life now.
Well, I really appreciate you taking the time. Thanks for sharing everything, man. You're a super cool guy, and I really do like your band. I look forward to seeing you here in Florida.
Thank you, Craig. Man, you're a blast.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed this, please share it on your social media channels. We appreciate your support. Thanks very much to Phil Vilenski. Again, check out waylandtheband.com. I'll tell you right now, if you want to figure out a place where to start, I really love the album Rinse and Repeat, and it's a proper record, man. There's like 14 tracks on here. Ode to 37 was great. Back to Life was great. All Rise, All We Had, Ghost. There's a lot of really good songs on that record. So if you're looking for a place to start, I would recommend that one. And most important, remember that happiness is it. I was going to look at that. Most important, remember that happiness is a choice. So choose wisely. Be nice, go play a guitar, and have fun. Till next time, peace and love, everybody. I am out, Phil. Thanks so much for everything, brother.
Thank you, man.